Hello and welcome to the channel. My name is Jake. You can also call me Atrocious, and today we are going to be taking a look at the top 4 match of the One Piece trading card game Aichi Japan Championships. Again, this is top 4, a very heavily dominated red purple law tournament. We saw that in top 16 there were 11 red purple laws, and then in top 8 in the last video there were 6 of them. So couple people maybe had the idea that law would kind of get maybe knocked around a little bit heading into the top 4, but if you know what this means, if you know what this board means in Japanese, whether you can read it or maybe you just put 2 and 2 together, the entire top 4 of this tournament is red purple law. The top 4 placings in this event are all the same leader. Absolutely insane that this is happening in this tournament. I don't think that's something that's rarely ever happened in the One Piece trading card game. The only thing that I can really think of that has happened in there was the World Championships when all 4 decks were Sakazuki. That was in that OP05 format for Worlds. So you can definitely expect to see a mirror match in both this video and the next video when we go over the championships in here. And just a reminder as well, this is not my official content. I am just doing my own commentary to try to improve as a commentator and maybe learn a little bit more about the game, matchups, things like that. So big shout out to this stream and crew and production. And as always, if you want to check out the official stream, maybe watch that instead of hearing me yap, feel free to click the link in the description below. But for those of you that want to stay, and if you're new here, we are so close to 5,000 subscribers here on the channel. So I don't usually plug the smash the subscribe button, but this time I'm going to because we're really close to a milestone. But anyways, let's get into the match. All right, so both players here on the top 4 match, both of these players, this is not the red purple law player that I think we saw last round. So this is going to be a little bit different of a deck list, I believe. I think I have one of the 2 guys' deck lists pulled up, and it is a little bit different than the last video. So as usual, I will show you the deck lists that are provided from this tournament, but also if we don't have the exact deck list, what are some good starting points for you if you're looking to maybe get some deck lists ready for OP08. So players shuffling around, potentially mulliganing. Is that the right way to say that? But anyways, going into this one, the nice Trafalgar law sleeves on that one side and just regular white sleeves for this player that we got right here. It's going to be really interesting in the red purple law mirror match. We saw it in the Hiroshima Championships, and at the Hiroshima Championships we really saw the no use of Black Maria, one of the best new cards added in this deck, and the impact of pudding. So this player over here on the right side does have a pudding in his hand, so we'll see if he ends up keeping it. The player here closest to us on the left did end up mulliganing. He will be going first in this game, so curious to see on a second turn curve. Looks like this player is keeping it on the right side. I also saw a what was I going to say? Sachi and Penguin in that one. Looks like a Trafalgar law blocker and a couple Eustace Captain Kidd blockers as well. So not 100% sure how much they wanted in the hand to keep. I assume that the Sachi Penguin and also the Pudding are very, very good cards to be able to have in the mirror match, right? Because it's allowing you to revamp Dawn overall. And we'll see what this player's hand is. Oh, actually their sleeves were switched. The Trafalgar law sleeves are going to be on the left side and the white sleeves are going to be on the right side. I just realized that. But we'll see what the player on the left has in their hand in a moment. This is a more random hand. First, showing us the player on the right side. Again, like I said, that Sachi Penguin, the Pudding that they ended up keeping, which we found out in the last championships was a very good card in the mirror match, and then some Eustace Captain Kidd blockers. So overall, prioritizing not only blockers, but also just cards in general that allow you to revamp Dawn, right? We see the Sachi Penguin, the Pudding, the 2 kids, could be really impactful in this matchup because Dawn manipulation is huge in this one. So the random hand that this player got, Miss All Sunday, got 2 Reijus right there. Those are the new championship Reijus that players have been going for in the East. You got a Sanji blocker and a Black Maria. So I feel like not an awful hand overall. You can't really complain when a Reiju is in your hand, and a Sachi, a really nice 2K, but also just a nice body to be able to cheat out at certain points in the game. It might not actually be easy to cheat out in the mirror match, right? Because you use that in regular matchups like Rob Lucci or something like that, where you can manipulate your Dawn to be able to make that Sanji a 3-cost blocker. In this matchup, though, might be a little difficult to be able to get Sanji cheated out on that 3. So going first, just getting Dawn and pass, moving into the player on the right. He is also going to draw 2 Dawn and pass after drawing the Gordon. Gordon, a really nice card that you want to see. And now at 3, looks like drew another Reiju right here. So not really seeing many lines besides swing 8 overall. I don't know if you want to play the Black Maria because it can get bottom deck so easy, but it looks like they might end up playing the Black Maria. So swinging 5 to face right now could just be a quick 1K counter. Could also be a life right here. We'll see exactly what they want to do. And it looks like they're going to get rid of that Trafalgar Law. The Trafalgar Law with that 1K counter is going to hit the bin. And the player on the left here really thinking about playing that Black Maria. That Black Maria is a 2000 power character, so will be bottom decked essentially immediately. I would imagine that you would never want this as a red purple law player to stay on the opposing side field for long. So we'll see exactly where they want to go in there. Their only other option right now is to use leader effect to play something like the Reiju. With the Reiju, they would be able to draw 2 cards overall, but I think maybe it's just more valuable to rest that Black Maria, play the Reiju down, draw your cards, and then use the Black Maria effect to get 2 more Dawn back. So that looks like exactly what they are going to be doing and passing it off to the right side. The right side drawing a Sachi and Penguin, so nice. Getting a little 2K in there. You could be able to Gordon the Reiju if you want. You're not necessarily worried about the Black Maria swinging overall, but going to potentially be swinging 6 with this leader. Could do something along the lines of playing the pudding. If you do swing 6, though, I don't know if you can bottom deck the Reiju overall, so maybe just thinking about bottom decking the Black Maria in this mirror. So swinging 6 at lead, looking to maybe get a 2K in this as they drew a Useless Captain Kid manga rare and also the Kid and Killer. Going to be resting 3 for that pudding, and then also going to be using leader effect to bottom deck that Black Maria. So that Black Maria not staying too long, getting a Sachi Penguin, going to be putting 2 more Dawn up into 4. Now going into the next turn, going to be at 6, and now we go into the player on the left. Player on the left now going to 4 Dawn. The Black Maria gone now at this point, so 4 Dawn could play something like Kid and Killer, right, if they get a life here. Instead, just going to be hard playing at Reiju, getting that draw. You can still play the Kid off of the leader effect. Going to be picking up Gordon, and I can't tell what the other card is, but they are going to pass the turn right then and there. No swinging outside of the leader actually in there. So interesting in that, not swinging with the other Reiju that they had on the field as we now go to the 6th Dawn turn for the player on the right. The player on the right has a couple Useless Captain Kids right there, but we've talked about this in previous videos, how the Useless Captain Kid does need to have a Gordon hit it. It's just a Gordon or a Raise Max away to be able to take off the field on the leader effect, so it could be a little risky, but just going to start off swinging 5 right here. They could do something in this turn, such as putting down the Useless Captain Kid, playing the Gordon that they have in their hand, and bottoming a Reiju. You don't want too many Reijus building on that side of the field. And so this 5K swing at full 4 life is going to be potentially a little poke in here. So we'll see if they counter out. Maybe just thinking, what card should I get rid of, right? Because especially with 7 cards and you just saw a 4-drop Trafalgar Law blocker, you definitely want to get 7 cards out of your hand, or you want to not have 7 cards in your hand. So The Law player playing that Queen, I do think Queen probably is a better card to play over the Kid right now, just because you want that draw, you want that card advantage in this mirror. Grabbing a Sachi Penguin and a Pudding. So going to see what they want to discard. Thinking about the Pudding, which is real interesting, because the Pudding was really influential in the last kind of mirror match that we saw. But as you just saw right there, there is already one on the field getting that rested Dawn back before they play the Gordon and bottom deck the Reiju. We'll see what they end up playing off of the leader effect. It looks like it's going to be a Sachi Penguin. Don't hate that play. Get 2 more Dawn back, going up to 5, and you'll be at 7 in the next turn. So now going to 6 for the player on the left here, grabbing, I believe, the Sachi and Penguin right there. So Sachi and Penguins all around. The player on the right is getting advantage in this one because they have so many characters on the field right now, but that could change in a hurry. And playing the Miss All Sunday, a deck that, or a card in this deck that we've seen on and off in different lists, has a nice trigger to be able to play. And after getting that Gordon right there, minusing the Queen, it is going to get bottom deck through that leader effect after getting that extra Dawn on the Miss All Sunday. Going to play that Reiju and has 5 in hand, so going to be drawing 2 cards right there to get back up to 7 cards in hand with that Gordon and Eustace Captain Kidd blocker. So passing it off with 4 Dawn, going into 6 next turn, we move into the player on the right. The player on the right now with, let's see, 3, 7, 8 it looks like, or just 7. I think it's just 7. 7 with 2 characters that are ready to swing and a little bit extra. Interesting enough, again, not swinging with that Reiju right there. So this player on the left continuously not swinging with some of these characters, just trying to get the poke damage from the leader in general. Very, very interesting of a strategy, forcing the opponent to be like, okay, you got to bottom deck every single one of these characters. I'm not letting you take a knockout with the characters. So it's almost like a game of chicken in a sense. Leader swinging 5 again is going to be taking a life finally, and it's going to be another Kid blocker before another 5 comes down. One of the Kid blockers go away before this potential other 5k swing from another Sachi Penguin is going to be interesting. You know that Kid and Killer is a card that can get active as soon as you get down to 2, and with red purple law, Kid and Killer is always available to get on the field once you're at that 2 life for 7,000 power. So thinking about bailing on this other Kid, they do already have, they've had 3 of these Eustace Captain Kidd blockers in hand before the last swing. So I wouldn't hate getting rid of another one as well. One of the things that you could do though is save both of them, just so then the you can play kind of Kids in back-to-back turns, right? Oh, you bottom deck one, I'll play another one down, right? And just because you bottom deck one of them doesn't mean that you got rid of any more characters on the field. So keeping the Kids and grabbing a Law blocker, it's going to be resting 5, I believe, right here. Going to be playing a Kid of their own before they go ahead and use leader effect. Going to use that raise max to bottom deck one of these characters. I don't know which one you do. Going to be that Reiju overall, and the Reiju is going to see the bottom of the deck. So moving in, let's see exactly what they play. I think Kid and Killer is probably a good one to throw down right here. You will be able to get a 7,000 power swing, and with the 2 Dawn, you can just put it onto him and swing 9, or more effectively swing 6 with the Pudding. Get 2 more swings in, a 6 with the Pudding, and then also a 7 with the Kid and Killer, starting to get a dominating position right now as they take this life. So a potential trigger up to this point could be something like a Miss All Sunday. We did see a Miss All Sunday get down last turn, so could be another one right here. Maybe just thinking about their Dawn, of what their Dawn situation looks like, because you do have to Dawn minus for the Miss All Sunday trigger to be able to get that effect and play that card. You would get down to 2 Dawn right there, which is definitely not 6, but you would have another body on the field to be able to swing and put pressure on your opponent in this turn. So doing a little bit of the math of what is better, what is more effective, and going to be playing that Missile Sunday to put 2 in the Dawn deck. So, oh, I'm sorry, you add a Rested Dawn, then if you have 6 or more Dawn, you draw a card. My apologies. So always going to be getting that Dawn back, so moving up to 5 now in their turn. Only 1 life left, just a couple characters on field. You don't really feel good, I feel like, going into this next turn. You do have a little bit of defense and a little bit of offense here in the Kid and Killers. You've got a Gordon right here to be able to bottom deck the Kid and maybe just trying to go for these characters at this point with the Dawn. You've got 4 right now that you're thinking about playing a Kid and Killer, which will be able to swing 7 overall. Definitely want to bottom deck before, and you could play another Kid and Killer down on this turn actually. So could be a turn where you do some heavy board wiping at this point. So think about using leader effect. I definitely think you want a leader effect before you swing, mostly because you don't want that free block to come on the Eustace Captain Kid. And so here we go with the bottom decking now. I think they'll play the Kid and Killer. Going to be playing the Trafalgar Law Blocker. The Trafalgar Law Blocker would be interesting, but I think Kid and Killer is more valuable in your game plan at this point. But going to be doing that Trafalgar Law Blocker, going to be swinging 5 now at either lead or a Sachi Penguin. So this might actually be at lead right now if I had to take a guess just based on the motion that they did. They could swing at any of the characters on the field because remember, the Kid and Killer only gets the 2000 power boost when attacking. It does not get it into your opponent's turn, so that Kid and Killer is back at 5000 powers. So going to be countering out the Eustace Captain Kid and swinging 5 now. Looked like at the Kid and Killer, but either way, it's going to be that 2k Sachi Penguin. Then it's going to be another 5k swing from the Sunday, another card, 0 cards in hand for the swing the Sunday. Swing the Sunday first. Oh my goodness, maybe doing a little bit of board wipe now on there. So the Kid and Killer takes out the Kid and Killer. The Sunday will knock out the Sachi Penguin, and then they will pass the turn off to the player on the left. Going a little bit more of the safer route. Let's see exactly what they top deck. The top deck could be something that helps them severely. Could be something like a rush character right now, although a couple cards in hand for the player on the left. This match has really swung back and forth, it feels like. So attaching 2 to the Sachi Penguin, potentially maybe. The card that they got is an Otama. So the Otama would be able to bottom deck a character if you wanted to, but the problem with that is you would have nothing in hand leading into this next turn. So you're almost wondering if they go for game right here or they go for board. They're attaching 2 and swinging 7. The 7, I presume, is going at lead because they didn't. Oh, sorry. Been tired, been working a lot the last couple days. Swinging 7 and seeing if it can take either a life or a knockout. Maybe just try to gauge how much counter is in the opponent's hand. Remember, there is that blocker right there, and I do agree with that block. It is a free block overall. If that one card is a minus power, which it is, there's no chance that it can get bottom deck to protect you or not be able to protect you from these incoming swings, whether it's at life or your characters. So good correct call there. Maybe that's what they were really thinking with the law, and maybe that's why it was a better play over the Kid and Killer. Oh my gosh, what was that reset right there? But anyways, oh, we're back to this. And maybe playing that Trafalgar Law was just a better idea overall than the Kid and Killer, simply because if they top deck a rush character of sorts, right? We've seen the Kid and Killers, we've seen Roronoa Zoros in this list, a couple different rush options in this. It could be really difficult for you to be able to defend your final stages of life, because even though you have a majority of counter in hand, you would have only like 5k counter overall, 5 or 6k counter in total. And can that stand up to what is potentially 4 swings? You'd have to get out of 2 of them, so could be tough in that sense. So really thinking about where they want to go at this point with how much Dawn left. It looks like 6 Dawn overall. They are out. The 6 Dawn is probably going to be redistributed to characters and going to be attaching to swinging 7 now, going to be an 8k counter. It looks like going to ditch the Otama and thinking about a 1k. I don't mind the kid right there. And 3 Dawn going to the pudding. So the pudding is going to swing 7 at the kid killer. It is going to KO it, and the 1 is going to go to the Otama, minusing the miss all Sunday and using leader effect to bottom deck the Sunday. Obviously can't play anything down, but we'll get arrested Dawn if they survive another turn. And 3, potentially 4 swings for the player on the left now with no cards in hand. This first swing going to land no matter what. So start out swinging 5 at lead for sure. Or maybe if you're worried about something like a Fire Fist or something trigger, you could swing 5 with the Sunday or Reiju first. This is a guaranteed hit. And that is going to be a Gordon. That's no counter right there. A 7 is going to go into that last life. An Ace, also no counter. And the final 2 life, no counter cards for our player on the right. And the win goes to the player on the left. So excellent, excellent job from the player on the left in that battle. It looked a little sketchy for a while, especially at the beginning of the game, but definitely in those final 2 turns that they had, they really surged control, really were patient with their swings, not swinging their Reijus if they didn't had to, and just waited until his opponent's characters just turned sideways. A really, really good job in that one. A very, very interesting match, actually, watching that mirror. And let's go over at least the winning players deck list. I know the winning players deck list. I don't think the other players deck list has been made public yet. So I believe this is the winning players deck list, playing those 2 Miss All Sundays, which we saw both of them in this battle in this as well. Instead of playing something like 2 Zoros and 4 Trafalgar Laws, they're a little bit trickier in this deck. Playing 2 Ein. The Ein is an addition that we've seen on and off in the deck, adding 1 Dawn from the Dawn deck and resting it. No other conditions whatsoever, just no counter cards on that card in this. But the same skeleton, essentially, that you usually see with the Black Marias, Puddings, Reiju's Kids, Sachi Penguin, Kid Killer, Raise Max, Gordon, Otama, and Queen. Only playing 3 Sanjis in here. You may have heard in previous videos that these red-purple law decks are playing up to 16 different 2Ks. So going a little bit lower in this game to be able to fit some other cards like Missile Sunday, the Ein, the Zoro, right? And it ended up working out for him. I think the Miss All Sunday actually did some heavy lifting in that match, especially off the trigger, to be able to cheat out a body another way, not just through the leader effect, but playing it in a different sense as well. Made it really, really cool to see in this match. So just as we talked about in the beginning of the video, how it is going to be a red-purple law mirror match in the finals. I hope you stick around for that one. It will be our player that we watched last round against the player that I think we watched in the top 8 match. So if you want to see his deck list and the player that we watched this round's deck list, you can go check out the different videos, and this will be coming out soon. I know there's another championships that's coming this upcoming weekend, so if it's not, you know, like June 16th or whatever, and you come across this video maybe after that, go check out the channel and see if you see anything else. So thank you again so much for watching. I appreciate your support, and again, link to this whole tournament is in the description below. If you can't wait, you just want to see the finals now, and I will see you in the next one.